Mystery 1: The Lost City of Atlantis. Beneath the surface of myth and memory lies one of history's greatest enigmas, a city of wonders, a civilization said to possess knowledge and power beyond imagination, a world that flourished and then, in a single day and night, vanished beneath the waves. This is the story of Atlantis. But was it ever real? Or has it only lived in the imagination of mankind for over 2,000 years? The birth of the legend. The first account of Atlantis comes from the Greek philosopher Plato, around 360 BCE. In his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, Plato describes an island kingdom larger than Libya and Asia Minor combined, lying beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. According to Plato, Atlantis was a paradise, fertile lands, abundant with resources, and a powerful navy that ruled the seas. Its capital city was a marvel of engineering, with concentric rings of land and water, connected by bridges and guarded by golden statues. Yet pride and greed consumed them. Atlantis waged war against the known world, until Athens resisted. And then, the catastrophe. The gods punished Atlantis. In a single day and night of misfortune, earthquakes and floods swallowed the island whole. Atlantis disappeared, never to be seen again. Plato insists this is no mere myth, but a true story, passed to him from ancient Egyptian priests. But was Plato recording history or crafting allegory, a moral tale of hubris and downfall? Theories of location. Over centuries, countless explorers, scholars, and dreamers have searched for Atlantis. And with each generation, the possible locations grew. Santorini, Greece. Some believe Atlantis was none other than the island of Thera, destroyed by a massive volcanic eruption around 1600 BC. The Minoan civilization was devastated, and its sudden collapse echoes Plato's tale of disaster. The concentric layout of Santorini's caldera even resembles Plato's description. The Azores, rising out of the Atlantic Ocean, the Azores Islands have long been suspected as remnants of a lost continent. Could these peaks be the mountaintops of Atlantis, still visible above the sea? The Americas. When explorers reached the New World, some speculated they had found Atlantis itself. The Mayan and Aztec civilizations, with their grand cities and advanced astronomy, fueled theories that Plato was describing the Americas. Antarctica, a more controversial idea, places Atlantis under the ice. Supporters argue that shifting poles or ancient maps, like the Piri Reis chart, point to an ice-free Antarctica where a great civilization once thrived. A metaphor. Many scholars argue Atlantis never existed physically at all. For them, Plato's story was a warning, a symbolic tale about the dangers of greed, corruption, and human arrogance. The mystery deepens. Why does Atlantis continue to captivate us? Perhaps it is because it embodies humanity's longing for a lost golden age, a time when wisdom and power were united, only to be destroyed by flaws we still recognize in ourselves. Atlantis is not only a legend, it has become a mirror. In searching for it, we ask questions about our own civilizations. Could we, too, suffer the same fate? rising to greatness, only to be undone by our own pride. Modern explorations. In recent decades, technology has allowed us to search more deeply. Sonar scans, satellite imaging, and undersea exploration have uncovered strange structures on the ocean floor. Off the coast of Cuba, divers reported massive stone blocks deep underwater, resembling city streets. Near Bimini in the Bahamas, a long wall of stones, called the Bimini Road, has sparked speculation of ancient ruins. Yet, none of these findings have offered conclusive proof. Science demands evidence, and Atlantis has given us only whispers. Atlantis in culture. From Renaissance maps to modern films, Atlantis has become part of the collective imagination. Writers, poets, and philosophers reimagined it as the birthplace of forgotten wisdom. Some claim it preserved secret knowledge, technologies, even connections to the stars. Occultists of the 19th century called it the source of hidden spiritual power. Today, Atlantis is not just a question of history. It is a symbol of human mystery itself. The eternal question: was Atlantis real? A powerful island empire swallowed by the sea? Or a story crafted to teach moral lessons? Perhaps we will never know. But as long as the waves crash against the shores of our world, the legend of Atlantis will rise again, reminding us of the thin line between history and myth, between memory and imagination. Atlantis may be lost, but its mystery will never be forgotten. Closing narration. Thus ends our first journey into the depths of time and water. From Plato's words to modern speculation, Atlantis remains history's most enduring mystery. But this is only the beginning. In our quest for truth, many more enigmas await. Mystery 2, the Great Pyramids of Giza. In the golden sands of Egypt, beneath the blazing sun, rise monuments that have endured for more than 4 millennia. Colossal in scale, flawless in alignment, and enigmatic in purpose, they stand as guardians of ancient secrets. The Pyramids of Giza, wonders of the ancient world, icons of human achievement, and perhaps humanity's greatest unsolved mystery. The builders and their vision. Around 4,500 years ago, during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, construction began on what would become the Great Pyramid of Giza. It remains the largest of Egypt's pyramids, originally standing at 146 meters high, its polished limestone casing reflecting the sunlight like a beacon. To this day, no one fully understands how such a massive structure was built with the tools and technology of the time. More than 2 million stone blocks, each weighing up to 80 tons, were quarried, transported, and lifted into place. The precision is staggering. The pyramid sides are aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points: north, south, east, and west. Its base is nearly a perfect square. The entire monument is more accurate than some modern constructions, achieved without modern machinery. Engineering enigma. How did the Egyptians accomplish this? Several theories exist. Ramp theory. The most widely accepted idea is that massive ramps of mud brick and limestone were used to drag the stones upward. Yet the logistics are staggering. Such ramps would need to be longer than the pyramid itself, requiring more material than the pyramid itself. Spiral ramp theory. Some scholars suggest ramps spiraled around the pyramid, hidden beneath the outer casing. But no trace of such ramps has been found. Lever and counterweight systems. Others argue that ingenious use of levers, sledges, and counterweights made the impossible possible. Lost knowledge or lost technology. Still, the sheer precision. Blocks fitted so tightly that even a knife blade cannot pass between them. Raises questions. Did the Egyptians possess techniques we have since forgotten? Purpose and symbolism. The pyramids are generally accepted as tombs for pharaohs. Khufu's Great Pyramid, Khafre's pyramid beside it, and Menkaur's smaller pyramid form a triad at Giza. Inside lie burial chambers, passageways, and grand galleries. But here, too, mysteries abound. No mummies were ever found inside the Great Pyramid. Was it looted in antiquity, or was it never meant to be a tomb at all? The pyramid's proportions reflect mathematical constants. Its alignments mirror the stars of Orion's belt, and its chambers align with celestial pathways. Could it be more than a tomb, a cosmic machine designed to link heaven and earth? The Orion correlation. In the 1990s, researchers proposed the Orion correlation theory, that the three pyramids of Giza were deliberately aligned to mirror the three stars of Orion's belt. In ancient Egyptian religion, Orion was associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. This suggests the pyramids were not just tombs, but gateways, connecting the pharaoh's soul to the stars. If true, then Giza was designed not merely for death, but for eternity. Secrets beneath the stone. Modern science continues to probe the pyramids. In recent years, muon tomography, using cosmic rays to scan through stone, has revealed previously unknown voids inside the Great Pyramid. Vast, empty chambers, hidden for 4,500 years. What lies inside them? Treasure? Knowledge? Or simply architectural features we don't yet understand? The debate continues. Legends and alternative theories. Beyond archaeology, the pyramids have inspired countless theories. Some claim they were built with help from a lost civilization, perhaps survivors of Atlantis. Others suggest extraterrestrial involvement, pointing to the sheer impossibility of the construction. Still others believe the pyramids were power plants, harnessing energy from the earth or the stars. Mainstream scholars dismiss these as speculation, yet the fascination persists. Why? Because even today, the pyramids resist full explanation. Cultural impact. For thousands of years, the pyramids of Giza have stood as symbols of endurance. Ancient Greeks visited them in awe. Medieval travelers marveled at their immensity. Napoleon, when standing before them, is said to have told his soldiers, "From the heights of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon us." In modern times, they inspire filmmakers, artists, and explorers. To some, they are tombs. To others, keys to a hidden past. To all, they're reminders that humanity once achieved something seemingly impossible. The eternal mystery. So, how are the pyramids built? Why such precision? Why such scale? Was their purpose purely funerary? Or was it spiritual, astronomical, even cosmic? These questions remain unanswered. And perhaps that is why the pyramids endure as mysteries. For every stone that stands in Giza, there is a question that cannot be shaken. Closing narration. The Great Pyramids of Giza, colossal, eternal, enigmatic. They rise from the desert as a message across time, one we still struggle to decipher. Were they monuments of human genius, or something more, something lost to history? We may never fully know, but as long as they stand against the sands of time, the pyramids will remind us that not every mystery is meant to be solved. Mystery 3. The Voynich Manuscript. In the hushed halls of libraries and archives lie books that tell the story of civilization. Histories, sciences, philosophies, and poetry. But among them exists one manuscript unlike any other. A book written in a language no one has ever read. A book filled with illustrations of plants that do not exist, diagrams of stars we do not recognize, and figures engaged in rituals we cannot explain. This book has defied scholars, code breakers, and scientists for centuries. It is called the Voynich Manuscript. The discovery. The story begins in 1912, when a Polish antiquarian named Wilfrid Voynich purchased a collection of manuscripts from a Jesuit college near Rome. Among them was a peculiar 240-page book written on vellum, calfskin parchment, with strange looping characters unlike any known alphabet. Voynich was intrigued. He believed he had uncovered a treasure from the medieval world, perhaps even the work of Roger Bacon, the famous 13th century English philosopher. He brought the manuscript to the world's attention, and since then, it has baffled every mind that has tried to unlock its secrets. The manuscript itself. The Voynich manuscript is divided into sections, each stranger than the last. Botanical, pages filled with plants that appear familiar, yet subtly impossible. Leaves that twist unnaturally, roots that defy biology. Not a single species has been conclusively identified. Astronomical, diagrams of suns, moons, and stars. Constellations that resemble none of our own. Circular charts that seem to represent calendars, but in a system unknown to us. Biological, perhaps the most mysterious section. Dozens of nude women, immersed in pools of green liquid, connected by strange tubes and networks. What do these images represent? Healing rituals? Alchemy? Or something more symbolic? Pharmaceutical, drawings of apothecary jars and herbal roots, suggesting the book is a medical text. But how can medicine be practiced with plants that do not exist? Textual, the majority of the manuscript is filled with thousands of words in an undeciphered script. The characters repeat with patterns resembling a real language, but it is one we do not recognize. The enigma of the script. Linguists and cryptographers have spent over a century trying to crack the code. During World War II, the manuscript was studied by American codebreakers who had broken Japanese ciphers, yet they admitted defeat. The script has about 25 to 30 unique symbols. Words appear to follow rules, repeating with consistency. Some scholars argue this must be a genuine language, not a hoax. Others claim it may be an elaborate cipher, concealing hidden knowledge. But no one has found a key. No Rosetta Stone for this language has ever been discovered. Scientific tests. Carbon dating places the parchment in the early 15th century, around the 1400s. The ink, too, is consistent with that period. This proves the book is not a modern forgery. But who wrote it and why? Theories of origin. The mystery has inspired countless theories. An herbal encyclopedia. Some believe it was a compendium of medicinal plants and practices created for a wealthy patron. But why use an unbreakable script? An elaborate hoax? Others suggest it was a clever fraud, a meaningless book designed to impress or swindle. Yet if so, why such consistency across hundreds of pages? Why invest years into a deception? A lost language. Could it preserve a tongue that has vanished from the earth? A record of a forgotten people? Encoded secrets of alchemy. Some argue it hides the recipes and knowledge of medieval alchemists, deliberately encrypted to guard their wisdom. Extraterrestrial or otherworldly origin. At the fringes, some suggest it is not of this world at all, a book of knowledge past, from beings beyond our understanding. Modern attempts to decipher. In recent years, artificial intelligence has been used to analyze the Voynich script. Some algorithms suggest it resembles natural human languages, with patterns similar to Hebrew or Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. Others believe it may be an invented tongue, a constructed language designed for secrecy. Yet despite computers, cryptography, and centuries of effort, the text remains unread. The fascination of the unknown. Why does the Voynich Manuscript capture the imagination so powerfully? Perhaps because it represents the limits of our knowledge. In an age when we can decode genomes and map galaxies, here is a simple book, written by human hands, that refuses to yield its meaning. It reminds us that mystery is not only in the stars, but also in the pages of our own history. Closing narration. The Voynich Manuscript sits today in the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University, preserved under glass. Thousands of scholars, hobbyists, and dreamers continue to study it. Yet, the book remains silent. Its words are locked away. Its plants bloom only in imagination. Its figures bathe forever in strange waters. Perhaps one day the code will be broken, or perhaps it will remain what it has always been, a whisper from a forgotten world, forever unreadable. The Voynich Manuscript, a book no one can read and a mystery no one can solve. Mystery 4, Stonehenge. On the rolling plains of southern England, where winds whisper across open fields, stands a circle of stone older than the pyramids of Egypt. Towering monoliths, arranged with uncanny precision, weathered by millennia, yet still commanding awe. This is Stonehenge, one of the world's most iconic monuments. A place of ritual, of power, of mystery. But who built it? Why was it constructed? And how was such a feat possible in an age before metal tools or wheels? For centuries, Stonehenge has kept its secrets. The monument itself. Stonehenge is not a single creation, but a construction project spanning more than 1,000 years. The first earthworks were raised around 3000 BCE. Over centuries, massive stones were transported, shaped, and arranged in circles and horseshoe patterns. There are two main types of stones. Sarsens, immense sandstone blocks, some weighing up to 40 tons. Bluestones, smaller, yet still heavy, transported from the Preseli Hills in Wales nearly 150 miles away. The stones were not simply placed. They were shaped with mortise and tenon joints, fitted like carpentry, showing a level of sophistication far ahead of its time. The mystery of transport. How did Neolithic builders, without wheels or iron tools, move such massive stones across such distances? Theories abound. Wooden sledges pulled across grease tracks, logs used as rolling systems, river transport on rafts, dragging the stones along waterways. Yet, no single method fully explains the journey. Especially the blue stones, their source lies across mountains and rivers. To this day, the transport of these stones remains one of Stonehenge's greatest puzzles. Astronomical alignment. Stonehenge is not randomly arranged. Its stones align with celestial events, most famously the summer solstice. On the longest day of the year, the sun rises precisely over the heel stone, casting light into the heart of the circle. This suggests Stonehenge was a kind of cosmic calendar, tracking the movements of the heavens. Some believe it was used to predict eclipses, mark the seasons, or conduct rituals tied to the cycles of the sun and moon. Purpose and meaning. But what was Stonehenge's true purpose? A temple of the sun, many see it as a sacred site, where rituals honored the power of the sun and the cycles of life and death. A burial ground. Excavations reveal human remains buried around the site. Was it a cemetery for elites, or a sacred necropolis connecting the dead to the stars? A healing center. Some archaeologists suggest the blue stones were believed to possess healing powers, attracting the sick and wounded. A place of unity. Others argue Stonehenge was less about astronomy or ritual and more about community, a monumental project that united tribes across Britain in shared purpose. Legends of the Stones. Stonehenge has inspired myths for centuries. In medieval times, it was said that the wizard Merlin magically transported the stones from Ireland. Others claimed giants built it in a single night. Later, Druids were associated with the site, though Stonehenge predates them by over 1,000 years. Modern Druids still gather at the solstice, keeping alive the sense of sacred tradition. Modern discoveries. Today, science continues to probe Stonehenge with radar, laser scanning, and excavation. Surrounding the monument, researchers have uncovered a vast ritual landscape. Avenues, burial mounds, and smaller hangguests. One discovery, known as Duington Walls, may have been the living village of Stonehenge's builders. Here, feasts and ceremonies were held, suggesting the monument was part of a larger network of ritual life. Still, even with these insights, the core question, why was Stonehenge built, remains unanswered. The timeless appeal. Stonehenge endures because it defies simple explanation. It is at once a masterpiece of engineering, a spiritual temple, an astronomical observatory, and a cultural icon. It shows us that even in prehistory, human beings reached for the heavens, seeking meaning in the cosmos, marking their place in the great rhythm of time. Closing narration. As the sun rises over the heel stone each summer, crowds gather, just as they may have thousands of years ago. They come not only to witness the alignment of sun and stone, but to touch the mystery that still lingers here. Stonehenge is more than an ancient ruin. It is a reminder that our ancestors were not primitive but visionary. They left us questions carved in stone, knowing perhaps that answers would forever elude us. Stonehenge stands as a mystery without end. Mystery 5, the Nazca Lines. High in the arid deserts of southern Peru, where rainfall is scarce and the earth is dry as bone, lies one of the most perplexing creations of the ancient world. From the ground, the land appears barren, empty, but from the sky, something extraordinary is revealed. Etched into the desert floor are enormous figures, animals, spirals, and straight lines stretching for miles. A hummingbird with wings spanning hundreds of feet, a monkey curling its tail into infinity, a spider stretched across the sand. These are the Nazca Lines, a mystery that has baffled archaeologists, historians, and dreamers for centuries. The discovery. Though local people had long known of the markings, the wider world discovered them in the 1920s when pilots flying over the desert noticed vast patterns only visible from above. The sheer scale was astonishing. Hundreds of geoglyphs, some simple lines running straight to the horizon, others intricate drawings of animals, plants, and shapes. Many span more than 1,000 feet across. How could ancient people, without the ability to fly, create such vast and precise images? The builders, the Nazca culture. The Nazca people, who thrived between 200 BCE and 600 CE, are credited with creating the lines. They achieved this by removing the top layer of dark, oxidized stones, exposing the lighter sand beneath. The desert's dry climate preserved the designs for over 1,500 years. But the questions remain, why did they do it? And for what purpose? Theories of purpose. Over the years, countless theories have been proposed. Astronomical calendar. Some researchers believe the lines aligned with the movements of stars, the sun, and the moon, functioning as a giant observatory. Certain lines do appear to mark solstices or other celestial events. Ritual pathways. Another theory suggests the lines were used in ceremonies. The Nazca may have walked these paths as part of religious processions, connecting themselves to gods of fertility and water, offerings to the gods. From above, the geoglyphs can be seen in their entirety. Could they have been messages or offerings to sky deities visible only to the heavens? Water and survival. Some archaeologists argue the lines are connected to underground water sources, marking sacred places where life-giving water could be found in the desert. The alien theory. In popular culture, the Nazca Lines are often linked to extraterrestrials. Writers like Eric von Daniken suggested they were landing strips for alien craft or messages to beings from stars. While mainstream archaeology dismisses such claims, the sheer size and aerial visibility of the geoglyphs continue to spark fascination. After all, why create images so vast that only the sky reveals their full form? Modern research. Recent studies using drones and satellite imaging have discovered even more geoglyphs hidden beneath the desert sands. Some are smaller and older than the famous figures, suggesting the Nazca culture practiced this art over generations. Archaeologists also note that many of the figures, hummingbirds, monkeys, whales, are linked to water and fertility. In one of the driest regions on Earth, perhaps the lines were prayers to the gods for rain. The enduring enigma. Yet, the mystery remains unresolved. Were the lines messages to the divine, maps of the heavens, or symbols of community ritual? Or were they all of these at once? The Nazca left no written records to explain their purpose. What they left instead is silence. Silence stretching across the desert, written in lines only the sky can read. Closing narration. Today, visitors stand on towers to glimpse the figures, or fly above in planes to see the vastness of the designs. The Nazca Lines endure, untouched, preserved by the desert itself. They are not merely art. They are a conversation between earth and sky, between humanity and mystery. A reminder that long before satellites and aircraft, our ancestors dreamed of reaching the heavens and left behind messages large enough for the gods themselves to see. The Nazca Lines, an unsolved riddle carved into the earth for eternity. Mystery 6. The disappearance of the Indus Valley civilization 5,000 years ago. On the fertile plains of the Indus River, a great civilization rose. Its people built vast cities with carefully planned streets, advanced drainage systems, and towering granaries. They crafted exquisite jewelry, seals carved with mysterious symbols, and pottery that still shines with artistry. This was the Indus Valley civilization, one of the world's earliest urban cultures, rivaling Egypt and Mesopotamia. And yet, unlike those civilizations, the Indus people left behind no pyramids, no ziggurats, no grand monuments proclaiming their kings. Worse still, they vanished. Their cities, once thriving with tens of thousands of people, fell silent around 1900 BCE. What caused the collapse of one of humanity's greatest and most mysterious civilizations? The great cities. At its height, the Indus Valley civilization stretched across what is now Pakistan, northwest India, and parts of Afghanistan. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro astonished archaeologists when discovered in the 1920s. Unlike chaotic settlements elsewhere in the ancient world, these cities were meticulously planned. Streets intersected at right angles. Houses had private baths connected to complex drainage. Wells provided clean water. It was a society far ahead of its time, yet strangely silent. No great palaces, no obvious temples, no evidence of mighty kings. Instead, the city suggests a culture built on cooperation, order, and balance. The mystery of the script. Perhaps the greatest puzzle of all is the Indus script. Thousands of carved seals and tablets show strange symbols. Fish shapes, human-like figures, geometric patterns. But to this day, nobody has deciphered it. Without the ability to read their words, we remain outsiders to their thoughts, their religion, and their history. It is as though a whole civilization spoke to us in whispers, whispers we still cannot understand. Theories of the collapse. Around 1900 BCE, the great cities began to decline. By 1300 BCE, the urban centers were abandoned. Why? Climate change and drought. Evidence suggests the Indus River changed course and monsoons weakened. Without reliable water, agriculture faltered, and famine may have forced people to leave their cities. Earthquakes and floods. Geological studies show that tectonic shifts altered river systems. Cities may have been destroyed by floods or earthquakes. Invasion theory. Early archaeologists believed nomadic Indo-Aryans invaded and conquered the Indus cities. However, modern research has found little evidence of large-scale violence. Gradual decline. Some scholars argue there was no sudden collapse. Instead, the cities slowly depopulated as trade networks collapsed and resources dwindled. The truth may be a combination of all these factors. The forgotten people. What makes the disappearance of the Indus Valley civilization so haunting is not just that their cities fell, but that they left behind no clear legacy. Egypt gave us hieroglyphs. Mesopotamia gave us cuneiform. The Indus gave us silence. Did their descendants blend into later Indian cultures? Did their language evolve into forms we still speak today? The answers lie buried beneath centuries of earth and time. The enduring enigma. Today, archaeologists continue to unearth Indus cities. Lathal, Dhalavira, Rakhigarhi. Each discovery deepens the mystery. The seals remain unreadable. The reasons for collapse remain debated. And so, the Indus Valley civilization remains a ghost in history. A great culture without a voice, a power without a monument, a people who vanished but never truly died. Closing narration. As we walk through the silent streets of Mohenjo-Daro today, the ruins whisper questions. Who were these people who built with such precision? What gods did they worship, and why? After centuries of brilliance, did they disappear into the shadows of time? Until we can read their script, until the earth yields its final secrets, the Indus Valley civilization will remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. A civilization that rose with brilliance and vanished in silence. Mystery 7. The Copper Scroll treasure in 1952, deep within the ancient caves of Qumran near the Dead Sea. Archaeologists made a discovery unlike any other. Most of the Dead Sea Scrolls, fragile manuscripts written on parchment and papyrus, contain prayers, religious rules, and biblical texts. But one scroll was different. It was not made of parchment, but of copper. And instead of spiritual wisdom, it contained a treasure map. This is the Copper Scroll, a riddle carved in metal, listing vast amounts of hidden gold, silver, and artifacts. A treasure so immense, it could change our understanding of ancient Israel. But to this day, the treasure has never been found. The discovery. The Copper Scroll was unearthed in Cave 3 of Qumran. Unlike the other scrolls, it was brittle and corroded, its surface hardened by centuries. To read it, scholars had to carefully cut it into strips. What they found shocked them. Instead of prayers or psalms, the scroll listed 64 separate locations where treasures were supposedly buried. The descriptions were precise yet cryptic. In the cistern in the courtyard of the peristyle, at the entrance, 900 talents of silver are hidden. If true, the amounts described would equal tons of precious metal. The treasure described, the scroll mentions, nearly 4,600 talents of gold and silver, equivalent to billions in modern value. Sacred objects, vessels, and offerings. Hidden caches buried beneath aqueducts, in tombs, and under ancient landmarks. But here lies the mystery. If such a treasure existed, who hid it, and why has it never been found? Theories of origin. Scholars are divided over the origins of the Copper Scroll. 1. The Temple Treasure of Jerusalem. Some believe it lists the treasures of the Second Temple, hidden before the Roman destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. Priests may have concealed the wealth to protect it from invaders. 2. The Essenes' hidden wealth. Others argue the Essenes, the sect believed to have written the Dead Sea Scrolls, buried their sacred wealth in secret locations. 3. A work of fiction. Some scholars claim the scroll was symbolic, not literal, a vision of divine riches, never meant to be unearthed. 4. Multiple treasures. Another theory is that the scroll records a mixture of treasures from different sources: royal wealth, temple offerings, and war spoils, all hidden in times of crisis. The hunt for the treasure. Since its discovery, explorers and treasure hunters have searched desperately for the Copper Scroll's riches, but none have succeeded. Some of the locations described may no longer exist. Rivers have shifted, cities have fallen, landmarks have eroded. Others argue the treasures were already found long ago, taken by Romans, Byzantines, or even Crusaders. And yet, the dream persists, that somewhere beneath the hills of Judea, beneath centuries of earth, lie the buried riches of a forgotten age. The unanswered questions. The Copper Scroll remains unique among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Why was it written on copper, a material built to last forever? Why such detail, down to measurements of depth and landmarks, if the treasure was not real? And if the treasure was real, how could such wealth vanish without a trace? The enduring mystery. Today, the Copper Scroll sits in a museum in Amman, Jordan. Its inscriptions still gleam faintly with the promise of unimaginable wealth. But whether it is a genuine treasure map or a symbolic riddle, no one can say for certain. Perhaps one day, an explorer will stumble upon one of its hidden vaults, uncovering the gold and silver that has slept beneath the earth for nearly 2,000 years. Or perhaps it will remain forever unsolved, a reminder that some mysteries are meant to remain buried. The Copper Scroll is not just a story of treasure. It is a story of faith, survival, and a desperate attempt to preserve something sacred in a time of chaos. Was it fact? Was it myth? Or was it both at once? The desert still keeps its secrets, and somewhere, perhaps, the greatest treasure in history still lies waiting. The Copper Scroll, a map to riches beyond imagination, and a mystery that refuses to be solved. Mystery 8, the Voynich Manuscript. In a quiet library at Yale University rests a book unlike any other in the world. Its pages are filled with strange illustrations, plants that do not exist, naked women bathing in green pools, astronomical diagrams of unfamiliar stars. And covering every page is a script. Thousands of words written in a language that no one can read. A language that belongs to no known culture, no known alphabet, no known time. This is the Voynich Manuscript, a book so mysterious it has defied scholars, scientists, and code breakers for over 600 years. Some call it a hoax, others call it a cipher, and Some whisper it may not even be of this world. The discovery. The manuscript surfaced in 1912 when a Polish book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich acquired it from an Italian Jesuit collection. It quickly drew the attention of historians and cryptographers. But as experts examined it, the mystery only deepened. The writing is completely unknown. Over 170,000 characters in a script seen nowhere else in history. The illustrations are bizarre. Plants with roots, leaves, and flowers that match no species. Women immersed in strange, green, tube-like contraptions. Zodiac-like diagrams of stars and moons. Complex charts suggesting knowledge of chemistry or alchemy. Carbon dating has shown the parchment was created in the early 1400s, placing the book in the medieval period. But the identity of its author remains unknown. Attempts to decode. For over a century, the manuscript has been the ultimate challenge for codebreakers. During World War II, Allied cryptographers who broke the Nazi Enigma machine tried to crack it and failed. Linguists have analyzed its structure. The writing has the patterns of real language. Words repeat, grammar-like rules exist. Yet it matches no known tone. Computer analysis shows it is not random scribbling. The text follows order and rules, but its meaning remains hidden. Was it a code meant to protect secret knowledge? Or the creation of a mind inventing an entirely new language? Theories. 1. An alchemical or medical text. Some scholars believe the manuscript was a guide to medieval medicine or alchemy. The strange plants could represent lost herbal knowledge. The bathing women may symbolize healing rituals or fertility practices. 2. A ciphered secret. Others argue it is an encoded text, perhaps hiding political, religious, or scientific secrets. If so, the key has been lost for centuries. 3. An elaborate hoax. Some believe it is nonsense, created by a medieval trickster to sell a mysterious book to wealthy collectors. But the complexity of its structure makes this unlikely. 4. An unknown language. Another theory is that the manuscript records a language we no longer know, the last voice of a forgotten culture preserved in code. 5. Extraterrestrial knowledge. Fringe theorists suggest the manuscript is not human at all. The alien plants, the strange diagrams, could it be knowledge gifted from beyond the stars? Why it fascinates us. The Voynich Manuscript is not simply a puzzle. It is a mirror reflecting our hunger for knowledge and our fear of the unknown. Every attempt to solve it feels close, it slips away. Every theory opens new questions, and so the manuscript remains silent, its secrets locked behind pages no one can read. The modern era. Today, the Voynich Manuscript is digitized, studied by researchers across the globe. Artificial intelligence has been applied, comparing it to thousands of languages. Some progress has been claimed, but no consensus exists. Its mystery endures, untouched. Closing narration. Perhaps one day the code will be broken. Perhaps a hidden key, buried in history, will unlock its meaning. Or perhaps the Voynich Manuscript is destined to remain what it is today, a book of questions, not answers. A window into a world that may never have existed. A challenge that has humbled the greatest minds for centuries. And a reminder that not all knowledge can be tamed. The Voynich Manuscript, a book without a language, without an author, without an answer. A voice calling out from the past, in words no one can understand. Mystery 9. The Bermuda Triangle between the coasts of Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda lies a vast stretch of ocean, turquoise blue, beautiful, and deadly. It is known to sailors and pilots alike as the Bermuda Triangle. For decades, this region has been the stage for chilling stories of ships and planes vanishing without a trace. Compasses spinning wildly, radios going silent, entire crews disappearing as though swallowed by the sea. Is it science, myth, or something beyond human understanding? This is the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. The legends begin. The legend gained worldwide fame in the 20th century. Newspapers and magazines told tales of ghost ships and planes disappearing in clear skies. Soon, the Bermuda Triangle became one of the most infamous mysteries on Earth. But in truth, strange stories go back much further. When Christopher Columbus sailed through the region in 1492, he recorded unusual compass readings and mysterious lights dancing on the horizon. Even in its earliest encounters, the triangle whispered of danger. The famous disappearances. 1. Flight 19, 1945. The most famous incident involved 5 U.S. Navy bombers on a training mission. Flying in clear weather, their compasses malfunctioned, and the pilots became hopelessly lost. Radio transmissions grew frantic, then silent. All 5 planes disappeared, and so did the rescue plane sent to find them. Not a single piece of wreckage was ever recovered. 2. The USS Cyclops, 1918. A massive U.S. Navy cargo ship carrying over 300 men and thousands of tons of ore vanished without sending a distress call. To this day, no trace of ship or crew has been found. 3. Other cases. Over the years, dozens of smaller planes and ships have reportedly disappeared in the region, often in good weather, often without explanation. The theories. 1. Human error and weather. Skeptics argue the triangle is simply one of the busiest shipping and flight regions in the world. Human mistakes, storms, and accidents could explain many losses. 2. Magnetic anomalies. Some scientists point to unusual magnetic patterns in the region. These could cause compasses to malfunction, disorienting navigators. 3. Methane gas eruptions. Geological studies suggest methane gas may erupt from the ocean floor, reducing water density and causing ships to sink suddenly, leaving little trace. 4. Rogue waves. Gigantic, unpredictable waves, over 100 feet high, could easily overwhelm ships and aircraft. 5. The paranormal theories. Others claim the Bermuda Triangle is no ordinary ocean, a portal to another dimension, an area influenced by extraterrestrial activity, or the site of the lost city of Atlantis, whose ancient power still disrupts the seas. The scientific view. In recent years, researchers have tried to debunk the mystery. They argue that the rate of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is no higher than anywhere else in the world. But the unanswered cases, Flight 19, the Cyclops, and others, continue to spark doubt. Even with modern technology, some wrecks have never been found. and the sea keeps its secrets well. The enduring mystery. Why does the Bermuda Triangle continue to capture our imagination? Perhaps it is because the ocean itself is vast and unknowable. It hides what it takes. It gives no answers. Or perhaps there truly is something different about this region, something science has not yet explained. Closing narration. From Columbus's journals to modern disappearances, the Bermuda Triangle remains one of history's most enduring legends. It is a place where navigation fails, where voices vanish in a static, where the sea swallows without mercy. Is it all coincidence, or the shadow of forces we cannot see? Until the ocean gives up its secrets, the Bermuda Triangle will remain a doorway between myth and reality. A reminder that even in the age of satellites, there are still corners of the earth we do not fully understand. The Bermuda Triangle, beautiful, deadly, and forever unsolved. Mystery 10, the Antikythera mechanism. In the year 1901, off the coast of a small Greek island called Antikythera, divers searching for ancient shipwrecks stumbled upon something extraordinary. Amid statues, amphorae, and coins, they found a lump of corroded bronze. Unremarkable at first glance, but hidden within its rusted fragments were tiny gears, precisely cut teeth, and intricate engineering. It was a machine over 2,000 years old. Today, it is known as the Antikythera mechanism, often called the world's first computer. A device so advanced, it seemed impossible for its time. A machine that should not have existed, and yet it did. The discovery. The device was found in a Roman-era shipwreck dating to around 70 BCE. For decades, it puzzled scholars who could not understand its purpose. It wasn't until the mid-20th century, with the help of X-ray imaging, that its secrets began to emerge. Inside the fragments were more than 30 bronze gears, working together in a system of astonishing complexity. The mechanism was no ordinary object. It was a precision tool designed to track the heavens. What it did. Reconstructed models have shown that the Antikythera mechanism was an astronomical calculator. It could predict eclipses of the sun and moon. It tracked the cycles of the planets. It calculated the phases of the moon with stunning accuracy. It even displayed the dates of the Olympic Games. All this was achieved by turning a simple hand crank, which set the gears into motion, simulating the movement of the cosmos. For the ancient Greeks, this was not just a tool. It was a way to understand the order of the universe. The mystery, and yet, the Antikythera mechanism raises questions that remain unanswered. How could ancient craftsmen produce such fine, precise gears? Technology not seen again until the medieval clockmakers, over 1,000 years later. Was this device unique, or were there others like it, now lost to time? And why has no record of such machines survived in Greek writings? Some scholars suggest the knowledge may have originated with great minds like Archimedes or Hipparchus. Others wonder if it points to a hidden tradition of ancient technology far more advanced than we imagine. Theories. 1. A forgotten Greek genius. Perhaps the Antikythera mechanism was the masterpiece of a single inventor, centuries ahead of his time. If so, his knowledge died with him. 2. A lost tradition of technology. Others argue that many such devices once existed, but were destroyed in wars fires, or simply lost to history. The Antikythera mechanism may be the only survivor. 3. Out-of-place artifact. Some fringe theorists see it as evidence of lost civilizations, or even knowledge passed down from an unknown source. How else could such advanced engineering appear in the ancient world? Modern reconstruction. Today, researchers using 3D imaging and computer models have rebuilt working versions of the device. When the gears turn, the dials move with uncanny accuracy, predicting celestial events just as they would have over 2,000 years ago. It is a humbling reminder that the ancients were not as primitive as we often assume. They gazed at the same skies we see today and sought to understand them with brilliance we are only beginning to appreciate: the enduring enigma. The Antikythera mechanism is more than a machine. It is a question mark carved in bronze, a glimpse into a level of craftsmanship and intellect history was not supposed to possess. If such knowledge existed once, what else may have been lost? What other marvels lie buried beneath the seas, waiting to be rediscovered? Closing narration. Today, the fragments of the Antikythera mechanism sit in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. Broken, corroded, and incomplete, yet still whispering a forgotten genius. It is both a treasure and a warning that history is never complete, that entire. Chapters of human achievement may be missing. The Antikythera mechanism, a machine that should not exist but does. A reminder that the past still holds secrets, secrets written not in stone, but in gears that once turned with the stars. Mystery 11, the lost colony of Roanoke. Along the windswept shores of North Carolina lies Roanoke Island, a place where one of America's oldest mysteries was born. In the late 1500s, long before the Mayflower, the English attempted to establish their very first colony in the New World. It began with high hopes, brave men and women, and the dream of building a future across the Atlantic. But when help finally returned from England, the colony had vanished. No people, no voices, no sign of struggle. Only a single word carved into a tree: Croton. This is the story of the lost colony of Roanoke. The dream of empire. In 1584, under the sponsorship of Sir Walter Raleigh, the English crown sent expeditions to explore and settle the New World. Roanoke Island was chosen as the site of their first colony. The settlers faced hardships from the beginning. Relations with local Native American tribes were tense. Supplies from England were slow. Yet in 1587, over 100 men, women, and children, including the first English child born in America, Virginia Dare, established their new lives on Roanoke. It was a fragile beginning, but it carried the weight of England's ambition. The Disappearance. Governor John White, leader of the colony, soon sailed back to England to gather supplies. His return, however, was delayed by the outbreak of war with Spain. When White finally returned in 1590, 3 years later, he found the colony deserted. The houses were dismantled, belongings gone. No graves, no bodies. No signs of battle or disease. The only clue was that word carved into a wooden post: Croton. Another carving, simply Zero, was found on a nearby tree. White believed the settlers may have moved to Croton Island. today known as Hatteras Island. But storms and circumstances prevented him from searching. He never saw the colonists again. Theories of what happened. 1. Assimilation with native tribes. Many historians believe the colonists integrated with nearby Native American groups, such as the Crotones or the Lumbee. Oral traditions of these tribes mention ancestors with European features and practices. 2. Death by starvation or disease. Some argue the settlers perished due to lack of food, harsh winters, or outbreaks of disease. Their remains lost to time. 3. Spanish attack. Spain, hostile to England's attempts in the New World, may have destroyed the colony in secret. 4. Mass relocation. The settlers may have attempted to move inland in search of resources, disappearing into the wilderness. 5. The supernatural theories. Legends grew around the mystery. Stories of curses, witchcraft, or even otherworldly abduction. While not historical, such myths reveal how deeply the disappearance captured imagination. Modern clues. Archaeological evidence offers tantalizing hints. At Hatteras Island, artifacts such as a 16th century English ring and tools suggest colonists may have lived among the Croton people. In Bertie County, North Carolina, digs have uncovered European pottery dating to the Roanoke period, suggesting some settlers moved inland. Yet no definitive proof has ever explained the fate of all 115 colonists. The legacy of Virginia Dare. The colony's most enduring symbol is Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. Her name has become legend, representing both the promise and tragedy of Roanoke. Some stories claim she grew up among native tribes. Others weave myths of her spirit haunting the Carolina forests. Her fate, like the colonies, remains unknown. The enduring mystery. The lost colony of Roanoke is more than a historical puzzle. It is a story of human courage and human fragility, a reminder of how dreams of empire met the harsh realities of a new world. And yet, the single word carved into wood, Croton, endures as one of the most haunting messages in history. Closing narration. What happened to the colonists of Roanoke? Did they survive, blending into new communities, leaving their English roots behind? Or did they perish, their bones lost to sea and soil? Until the earth gives up its secrets, Roanoke will remain a question mark at the dawn of American history. The Lost Colony, a community that came with hope and vanished into silence, leaving behind only a word and a mystery that has lasted for over 4 centuries. Mystery 12, the Baghdad Battery. In the bustling heart of modern-day Iraq, amid the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, archaeologists discovered something that should not exist. It was the 1930s, near Baghdad, when workers unearthed a clay jar. Inside was a copper cylinder, and within that, an iron rod. To many eyes, it looked like a simple vessel, but to others, it looked like a battery, an electrical device more than 2,000 years old. Could ancient people have mastered electricity long before Benjamin Franklin flew his kite? Long before modern science was born? This is the mystery of the Baghdad Battery. The discovery. In 1938, German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig examined a collection of artifacts stored in the Baghdad Museum. One stood out, a small clay jar about 6 inches tall, dating to the Parthian period, around 200 BCE. The jar contained a copper cylinder sealed with asphalt, and inside the cylinder, an iron rod. The design was strikingly similar to a galvanic cell, the basis of a modern battery. When Koenig considered the object, he proposed a radical theory. The ancients had built a device capable of producing electricity. How it could work? If the jar were filled with an acidic liquid, such as vinegar, lemon juice, or grape juice, the reaction between the copper and iron could generate a small electric current. Replicas made by scientists in the 20th century confirmed it. With the right liquid, the Baghdad battery could produce between 0.5 and 1 volt of electricity. Small but real. But the question remained, why? The theories. 1. Electroplating. Some believe the battery was used for electroplating, covering objects with thin layers of gold or silver. This would explain the presence of finely gilded items in the region. Yet no clear archaeological evidence of electroplating workshops has been found. 2. Medical uses. The battery may have been used for therapeutic purposes, delivering mild shocks as a form of ancient healing. Electricity has long been associated with vitality in many cultures. 3. Religious or magical role. Some suggest the battery was not scientific, but spiritual. The faint tingling shock it produced could have seemed like divine power, used in rituals to awe the faithful. 4. A simple storage vessel. Skeptics argue the object is not a battery at all, but merely a storage jar, perhaps for sacred scrolls or papyri. The resemblance to a battery, they claim, is coincidence. The evidence in debate. For decades, the Baghdad battery has been at the center of debate. Experiments. In the 1970s, engineers at General Electric built replicas that worked exactly like modern batteries. They successfully used them to electroplate objects with silver. Skepticism. Many archaeologists argue that without written records or large numbers of similar objects, the battery theory is speculative. Ancient texts from Mesopotamia make no mention of electricity. The missing pieces. If these were truly batteries, why was only one found? Where are the wires, the circuits, the tools that would make use of electricity? Lost knowledge or modern projection? The Baghdad battery forces us to ask, did ancient civilizations know far more about science than we believe? Or are we projecting modern technology onto artifacts we don't fully understand? It would not be the first time ancient ingenuity surprised us. The Antikythera mechanism of Greece showed that ancient people could build complex mechanical computers. Could Mesopotamia have held its own scientific secrets? The museum mystery. Adding to the enigma, the original Baghdad battery may no longer exist. During the looting of the Baghdad Museum in 2003, many priceless artifacts were stolen or destroyed. If the original device was among them, it may be lost forever, leaving only photographs and reports behind. The chance to study it with modern tools may be gone. The enduring question: if the Baghdad battery was truly a source of electricity, it rewrites history. It would mean that 2,000 years before Edison, before Faraday, before the modern world, humans had discovered the hidden power of the atom. The spark of lightning captured in clay? If not, then it remains a strange vessel whose copper and iron lining puzzle us only because we want to see the past through the lens of the present. Closing narration. Was the Baghdad Battery a tool of forgotten science, a ritual object, or simply a jar misunderstood by modern eyes? We may never know, but in the cracked clay of a small vessel lies a mystery that challenges our certainty about human progress. The ancients may have known more than we dare to believe, and sometimes the smallest artifact holds the greatest shock. The Baghdad Battery, a forgotten spark in the dark of history.